actually reveal to you where my studio is today.
Yay!
Jump into the coach boat and they hug each other and they celebrate together because it's such a teamwork.
It's just that now we have to be super conscious that we're producing more waste, and we've got to be better at giving it a second use.
We were going to try and pledge to make these changes, and then we thought actually it'd be really cool if other athletes, other sailors could get on board to kind of leave no trace or leave wherever you've been cleaner than how you found it.
To get this boat, this platform, and they put up this whole thing for you guys. If I hear any complaining, get out of here.
Which of you was on board when this happened?
I was on the weather side of the boat, going underwater, holding my breath. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I was on the leeward side of the boat, getting blasted with water from behind. So
wasn't that the 47 knots, you guys?
Girls have to look like this, be like that, be like this, do that. But when you're at sea, you don't have to wash, you don't have to dress properly, you don't have to do your hair. It sounds like being in lockdown.
I love it. I mean, seriously, I have washed my hair for you for the first time in a very long time. And
part of the problem, or part of our challenge, is the tall poppy syndrome in Australia, having lived in the US a lot and other parts of the world. And I felt that one of the biggest hurdles that we have as a nation is when people are successful, they try and kind of, they're uncomfortable with success. Hopefully we're growing out of that.
we could continue all night, I'm sure, hearing your beautiful stories and your memories. But again, I just want to reiterate, it's not 7 years that you've served your country or inspired others. It's definitely been a lifetime. And for me, before I was born. So
thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. And what you're doing is terrific for the sport and terrific for sailing. And as I said at the start of this little interview, this whole online thing is just a game changer. So I think it's really, really exciting.
And the answer, of course, is you've just released your 19th book. 19 books.
It's still behind me.
I know, because how many have you written, Bob?
36.
And Nick, the other great thing about the sport is that it's a fabulous leveler. Nick, you're doing a great job.
Doing my best.
Thank you, Nick.
Trying to follow in your footsteps. We're both integral parts of the 2000 Olympics.
Yeah, look, and what a sensational Olympics, Sydney was. No one could ever say that you'd ever have a better regatta than Sydney.
As you pointed out, things have gone reasonably well. Not reasonably well, things have gone very well for the team. The New Zealand government, I would say from our perspective, has they've done a really good job managing an exceptionally tough situation, and we're incredibly thankful for the fact that they've given us our exemptions into the country, and Defiant's on her way there right now. She's about 500 miles west of Mexico on her way into the South Pacific and into Auckland. So she'll be there kind of, I think around the 25th, 26th of this month.
Marcus said when he was on the phone to them trying to organise it, they're like, yeah, but where has she stopped? And Marcus is like, hey, mate, the whole world knows she hasn't stopped. She's gone non-stop.
That's exactly right. That's what he kept saying. But they just ignored all that. Anyway, so I had my passport, which all it had in it was Sydney, stamp, left Sydney, arrived Sydney.
Vendee saw straight away in my eyes when I said that Charles had rung and that there was a potential to be part of the Dongfeng race team for the next race. All I could come up with was problems. What are we going to do with Kyle? What if you're away? And he says, and I just have to look into your eyes and see that you really want to do this. And so I have to let you do this because this is what will make you happy.
To have the opportunity to have been in the situation to be able to meet those people and generate the stories is cool.
Here's our whole campaign presenting it. Bang, we're racing. I think carries quite a lot of excitement and around it. It is a little bit more of the traditional way than it was in Bermuda, and I think that's part of Patrizio Bertelli's desire to take it back, and obviously the monohulls, which is like their monohulls when they're in the water, but when they've got all the foils hanging out of them, they're not too much different they're foiling boats.
Yeah.
So I think we used to talk about catamarans and monohulls. I tend to talk more in terms of fast and slow boats these days.
We've been knocking on the door for a while.
Yeah, because the last big event we had here was the Games, and obviously there was a real mix of emotions between winning a silver medal, which was awesome, but we really felt that day that we lost a gold medal.
We've been going well lately, but to come back and stand on the top step here is really cool.
A few years balancing both the AC and the Olympic programs, you must be exhausted.
Yeah, it's been a busy few years. I think we both knew when we decided to take on doing both it was going to be pretty full on.
The laser squad, though, is so tight. I mean, 2 gold medals in a row, 2 different athletes. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's always great to, chat to Tom and get some banter with him. Is awesome. He's gone on to, to extreme things that, above and beyond, even a gold medal, some of the things that he's done. So.
Fantastic, absolutely awesome event, and we're so stoked with the result.
How are your feelings at that moment?
Pretty ecstatic, to be honest.
Absolutely. Psychology, this is a big part of the sport, and if you know the principles, but this is not enough. You have to know the key, the trigger for each person to touch his heart, to make our sport visible. This is huge big role for our federation now and for all sailors. What you are doing, Nicole, you are making our sport visible. You are making visible what we love and what we achieve, and this is very important. This is not only pleasure for us, this is also a big drive for us, big credit for us for the future.
Welcome back, everybody! 2 days and 2 episodes of Adventures Weekly. How lucky are we? Oh my gosh. I feel like it's been a lockdown well spent, really, when we start looking back at all those memories and all of those amazing moments and fantastic goals that people have had and set out to achieve. It's just brilliant. And today's guest is definitely someone who went out and achieved a goal that they set for themselves with great style. So we'll get on to that in a bit. But to start with, we better bring in the amazing Side Nick T. How you going?
Hi, Nick. I'm good. Long time no see.
I know. I feel like we've just been chatting all night, basically, because we were getting the trivia ready for today's show and wrapping up yesterday's show with Stars and Stripes, which was fantastic. Well done. Big effort from you.
It was totally worth it, and I'm so excited to talk to our next guest. She seems pretty cool. Well, I know she's very cool. I'm excited to hear some of her stories.
Yes, I'm pretty excited to rehash some of the stories too. So without further ado, we might bring in our guest direct from Melbourne, enjoying some newfound freedom. We have Jessica Watson. How are you?
I am very good. The whole mood here in Melbourne is just changed overnight, and it is a lovely place to be again.
Oh my gosh. I feel so sorry for you, but no stranger to being on your own, having you're the youngest person to sail solo, non-stop, unassisted around the world. You spent 210 days at sea on your own. What's lockdown like in comparison?
Look, it's different. It has its moments, but and gosh, it's been tough for some people, and I really, really appreciate that. But no, look, for me, it's just kind of been a year that perhaps weren't quite expecting, but it's been fine. Yeah, I can cope with being by myself for a while, believe it or not.
I know. I think a lot of people have come to realise that I'm actually quite introverted too. I think people think that, they might think one way about you, and I think this year's definitely been a year for the introverts. I've been ringing my extroverted friends going, are you okay? Are you alive? Not being able to socialise. But yeah, that said, I feel like 210 days at sea might have actually been a little bit more peaceful in some regards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a funny one. And I think that was the biggest sense actually going into this, is that just realizing, like, people just think, oh my gosh, there's no way you could spend 210 days by yourself. You know, you must be crazy, or would you go crazy? Something wrong with you. But actually, humans are these incredibly resilient, adaptable things that you actually can throw into these, you know, seemingly unmanageable situations, and we get through. We adapt. We get used to these things.
Yeah, I think I've been talking to this a bit with a few people this year. Everyone's going, I've had to pivot. And I'm like, I don't think you've had to necessarily pivot, because that's basically going, now I'm a sailor, now I'm a car driver. I think we've just had to be a bit versatile and go, well, you know, right, you know what? It's actually not that bad to work from home. It's actually blissful. But that said, I think we might have a little bit of a look at the day that you actually set sail on your journey, and we'll work our way through a few of your adventures. What do you think?
Sure, a bit of a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, sorry for any embarrassing moments ahead of time.
I'm sure there'll be a few.
I actually remember this day, Jess.
So do I. Yeah, you know, actually, one of the biggest emotions on the day was actually kind of a sense of relief, like finally leaving. It was incredibly emotional. There were just tears. You know, everyone was just crying, but it wasn't kind of scared or you know, sad tears. It was actually a sense of achievement in some ways, because you know, as a team, we'd kind of been through hell to get to that start line after that whole debacle with the ship and things like that. So it was been just such a huge effort to get there, and it was a real moment. But yeah, maybe not the one that people would expect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually quite funny, because you were departing from Middle Harbour Yacht Club. I was actually in the park, and we were coaching Crown Prince Frederick in the Taser for the World Masters Games, and nobody was meant to know where we were. Yes, and on the Taser, and nobody was meant to know where we were. We kept it dead secret, and then here comes everybody rocking up to see you off, and all the paparazzi have worked out where we were, and it was like, no! It was like,
I have no idea.
Yeah, so there's been a few close encounters with you and I. So I remember that day vividly as well, because I was like, oh, there's Jess Watson, oh great. And then, oh no, paparazzi, oh no. Oh, and so then we like rushed out on the water straight away. But it was quite incredible, because there were quite a lot of journos there to see you off. And I think also a lot of, I'm going to say, naysayers. I mean, after what had happened, it was almost like people were waiting for you to fail. That must have been a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it wasn't a lovely mood, that's for sure. I think those around me were probably dealing with the worst of it more so than me. I was in this incredibly kind of focused and I suppose narrow-minded mindset by that point. I was just, you know, had one thing in my head. It was all about just getting on the water, and I suppose that's what I needed to do. But, you know, I do look back and realise that I certainly wasn't there for my family or kind of there for anyone else at that point. I was just had the blinkers on, ready to focus on you know, what was happening.
It's so bizarre. And do you know what, though? I've spoken to TRACY Edwards, as you would have seen in the opening there. I've spoken to Kay Cotty, who have all, you know, basically gone against what anybody would have thought was possible. And they've all said that on the day they were departing, they were just so focused on that goal. And that's what I said in the introduction. This this goal that's driving you, and that's no different from the day that you come up with the goal to the day that you depart, to the day you're halfway through, to the day you get home.
It is, and it was funny actually. I think you were going to talk about this later, but with Netflix making the film, and everyone, the script writers and everyone is looking for this moment of doubt where, you know, I thought maybe I couldn't do it, and you know, I changed my mind before I left and didn't want to set off, but there wasn't that moment for me, and it's downright crazy, really, that you shouldn't be questioning this thing, but for some reason, you know, once you sort of start saying it out loud and building that support, it just honestly was not in my head even in the slightest that this thing wasn't going to happen, which, as I said, is kind of crazy. Like, there's so much that could have stopped it, obviously.
Oh no, I think it's funny because what's been taught to me over lockdown is you almost feel crazy for having that much belief in yourself, but you know, John Bertrand, people like this who thought that they were going to win the America's Cup, and off they went and won the America's Cup. It's there's something that's in common, and that's not that they were crazy, it's that they were focused, and I think that's something very, very special. But that aside, we should have a lighter note, I think, and get into this week's trivia, which is completely focused on you, and I'm very, very excited to get into that. So we might have a little bit of a look. We'll bring T back on the screen as well. T, how many people played this week?
We had 3,000 players this week, so I can't wait to count the rest of the votes this afternoon when it times out. But that's only so far.
Awesome.
We uploaded this later this evening, last night. So, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be more.
There's definitely going to be more. So here's the first question, and you probably might get the gist of this after we've just been chatting. Jessica Watson is known for A, inspiring young people to follow their dreams, B, telling the Prime Minister that she was just ordinary, C, being the youngest person to sail solo non-stop and unassisted around the world, or D, all of the above. Jess, do you know the answer?
Yeah. gonna go with D here, if that's
D.
okay.
All of the above. Now, I love that you told the Prime Minister that you are just ordinary. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that, Mr. Kevin Rudd?
Yeah, so this was the moment, you know, coming home, and I'd been told there might be someone important there to meet you, and, you know, do you want to have something ready to say? And I sort of thought about it a little bit, not too much. I sort of brushed off offers of help, you know, does anyone want to help you write a speech, etc. And I didn't really have it kind of firmly in my head what I wanted to say. I just knew that I kind of wanted to stress that, you know, I was this dyslexic girl who was scared of kind of the water, and here I was, I sailed around the world and I'm really ordinary. And then he got up and called me a hero, and I had this moment where I got to respond, and I said, no, I disagree with the Prime Minister. And there was this moment of applause from the crowd where I couldn't finish my sentence and be like, I'm just disagreeing, that I'm not a hero, I'm just ordinary. And yeah, it was a very cheeky teenage moment on reflection, but I'm glad I did it.
Well, you say cheeky, but do you know one of my most favourite quotes, and it's helped me through my career, and that is that there are no extraordinary people in this world, just extraordinary challenges that ordinary people rise to meet. So on that, we might watch a clip from CNN, which I believe is also a part of the National 9 News broadcast when you came back to Sydney. Let's have a little bit of a look.
As entrances go, it could not have been more dramatic. Sydney in her sights and Jessica Watson storms home.
And even today, it's just a perfect day sailing out here, so I can't believe I'm heading in.
A couple of hours late, but the thousands at the Opera House weren't about to budge. Jess's Pink Lady, battered and barnacled, ploughed on. As she neared the finishing line at the Heads, it was like she was surfing on the wake of the welcoming flotilla. Then just before 2 o'clock, journey's end. And watching as Jess was swallowed by the fleet, Mum Julie.
She's so... Oh, look, it's just unbelievable. Like, you would never imagine so many people would get caught up in it, and it's just Yeah, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. Even though I'm looking at it, it just still feels like you're looking at a thing on TV or something. Yeah.
She left under a cloud of doubt and charged home in a blaze of adulation. It was Boxing Day in May. Jessica's little boat swamped by admirers. 210 days and the loneliness of the long-distance sailor was well and truly over. It was the great Jessica Armada churning up the harbour.
It's so chaotic. It's like, oh, I feel sorry for all the skippers around.
Her fan club extended to the skies. Customs was the first on board. Formalities over, her passport checked. Jess was officially home.
I just don't know what to think and what to say at the moment, so it's all a bit much, but absolutely amazing.
For 10 minutes or so, she had time to try and soak it all in. What was in front of her and what she had left behind.
I didn't want to come in, I was having, You're
just having too much fun.
Yeah.
The girl too young to drive, but who skippered her way around the world and into the hearts of so many. She tied up to the Opera House wharf and set foot on dry land, falling into the arms of her family.
Oh my gosh, that moment. Actually getting to see your family, what was that like?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was, so special. I think there's a lot of people who can really appreciate that this year particularly. And, I think it's going to be a repeat of that when the Queensland borders open this year, when I get to see them again.
Absolutely.
But it's 10 years on now, and I suppose I try and brush it aside, but you do watch that and you kind of, it all comes back and there's sort of emotion there.
Very, very cool. Or ordinary, as you would say. But that's okay. So let's get back to the trivia. And the next question is basically, what was the name of your boat? And I had a few good ones in here. I just want to know, Tiana, how many people answered Maiden? Because they're in big trouble.
50.
50?
50 people.
Out of 3,000. That's not so bad. But most people did say.
Yeah, most people said Ella's Pink Lady, but everyone also liked Why Not? Because why not go around the world at 16 by yourself?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I actually wanted to call her, I thought one of my first name ideas was Audacious or Audacity, because I thought that was just a beautiful word and that's kind of what it was. But obviously that kind of got, swept away along the way.
That's way too serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the media. Yeah. No, that's funny.
Yeah, and once we painted her pink, it was kind of,
You're not going back from there. Although pink is in fashion this year. I mean, the Vendee Globe is just about to start and Hugo Boss is in every shade of pink. I mean, have you sent him any advice on what to do when you're wearing that colour? I mean, we should have organised an interview with you and him.
He's probably a bit busy right now. Yeah. But no, I love it. I'm loving all this pink, Yeah, no,
it's
time the guys embraced it as well.
Yeah, I know that's so true. But on that, we had a question come in on our social media this week, which was while you were at sea, speaking of normal life and what you left behind, I mean, what did you do about schooling and all that sort of stuff? Did you just take time off or how did it roll? I mean, the summer holidays was a lot of it, really.
Yeah, a stretch of imagination there. But no, I mean, the thing is, it wasn't just the voyage. You got to realise it was the years before then when it was basically just sort of full-time preparation with a little bit of schooling on the side. So I was doing correspondence school, distance education, so I was officially enrolled, but obviously as the journey kind of approached more and more so, there was a little bit less getting done there. And then, during the voyage itself, I had my books, I had my schoolwork packed. I probably got it out all of it a couple of times. So look, there was a bit of catching up to do when I got home. I did this actually night school format, kind of condensed couple of subjects. But yeah, a bit of a different, untraditional way of doing it. But look, I've gone on to study and I think it does go to show for a lot of young people out there going through exams right now. You find ways of doing these things. Definitely try hard in your exams, but if you don't get the result, there's actually often another way as well.
There's other ways and life can provide so much experience sometimes that school can't. Not saying that people shouldn't finish school. I'm a massive nerd, done a lot of school. Also done a lot of sailing, so I get that. But, it's yeah, I think it's incredible being able to set goals in one element of your life means that surely you can transcribe that to another. And that was a big goal for, I mean, I think you must have been 13 or 14 when you were starting to think about this.
Yeah. But then I was kind of deadly serious about it. So it was the moment of Mum reading me Jessie Martin's book when I was 11 as this, innocent bedtime story that first put the idea in my head. And I think from there it just sort of grew and grew, and it just became, as I said before, that really firm, kind of clear, set thing that was happening one way or another.
So amazing. So the next question on our trivia was, how many times did the Pink Lady roll in the Atlantic Ocean? And we heard 4. So I'm sure there were plenty of other knockdowns in your career. But the first day that I heard you speak was actually at the press club, and you told the story about the detergent and how detergent will forever be your enemy. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, you can imagine, taking a boat and turning it upside down and shaking it about. Anything that can come loose will come loose and fly around the cabin, which can obviously be quite dangerous. So you should be tidying up beforehand. But in this case, it was the bottle of detergent that came loose, which could be worse, except that it did spill its way through the boat, and detergent on the roof and bubbling up with the water on the floor, and it's just this big sticky mess. And that smell still, I can't use lemon fresh to this day.
Oh, you must have been so excited when that strawberry scented detergent came out, or just anything alternate.
Anything else?
We'll use Jif.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget that story. It's just how normal things can just become so terrible. And then the next question, how many days were you alone at sea? We've already spoken about that. It was 210, answer B. And then we get to some more serious stuff. In what year were you awarded Young Australian of the Year? Pretty amazing experience. 2011.
Yeah, pretty humbling. It's a hard one, actually, getting the award and winning it over, the other finalists who just did these incredible selfless things, and were these amazing people doing incredible things in their communities, and then winning it, you kind of go, oh my goodness, why? but yeah, it's a busy year and it's a really special year. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think you're very humble as well, but that's probably why you did so incredibly well. The next question, has Jessica Watson been awarded the Order of Australia? And the answer is true. I love this picture here, by the way. You on board the boat.
Yeah, in the tropics.
Is that writings from your friends before you left on the inside? That's so lovely.
It is, yeah. It was, and they were everywhere, written throughout. Kind of everyone dropped in and wrote something, and there's some really special messages on the walls.
That's so nice. Yeah, I guess people forget that now the world is very different as well. When we're in lockdown, we're not really alone, so to speak. I mean, I'm sure you were able to talk to your parents, but it's not the same as having FaceTime, at the tip of your fingers. I mean, very different.
Yeah, it is different. I mean, obviously now there's that kind of instantaneous access. There were some video calls I had while at sea, but it was very kind of grainy, pixelated, expensive things that, generally were paid for by the media, so it's quite limited. But actually, I had plenty of interaction. There was actually almost a point with the opposite. I was actually saying to family and team, I don't need to talk to you 5 times a day. Like, it's too much. It's smothering. Like, let me get into the rhythm out here. So, yeah, I didn't feel lonely. That's for sure.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to cut to this video right now, which I know is not your favorite, but I think it sort of personifies that energy that you got when you were on your own. Let's have a little bit of a look.
Well, it's 28th of January, and you wouldn't believe it, but it was less than an hour ago, and we had a beautiful sunny day, and now we've got this really thick fog that's rolled in all of a sudden. So it's amazing how quick it went from warm and sunny to terrible visibility and all foggy. But no complaints because we've just got enough wind to keep us moving towards the east. So it's really good. It's really cool because we're almost halfway across the Atlantic Ocean already, and we're officially on the way home now. We've passed the halfway point, and every mile's closer towards Australia, which is good. It's just amazing how fast it's all going, and that we're already halfway.
You can definitely hear the Queensland in your voice there, Jess.
You can, can't you? It's
You've
like 10 odd years
changed.
ago now. I know. Anyone changes a lot in 10 years. But you know the other thing I was hearing there is me saying we. It's funny when you hear that and you're going, it's me and the boat and that team. They just felt like they were part of it, even though they couldn't have been physically further from them. But it's funny hearing that because supposedly this solo voyage, but it just felt like a we.
You and the boat, and you also had one other friend on board who took a bit of a beating after those Atlantic rollovers. Let's have a little bit of a look.
We're just losing the sun. It's not the most spectacular sunset, but one of the better ones we've had in a while. Pretty nice sailing. We're getting along at about 5 knots. And there's Parker working away, keeping us on course. And you might have noticed he's actually sitting a little bit crooked there. It's left over from that knockdown a while back. And he's still working absolutely fine, which is great, but it just looks a little bit crooked. I had to go at straightening him up, but he's still a little bit crooked there.
So you had Ella and Parker.
Yeah, so Parker's the reference to Lady Penelope's Parker, who was the chauffeur of her pink Rolls Royce. So Thunderbirds, which I don't think anyone watches these days, but for some reason we had that DVD as a kid. So
and that's your autopilot, or your tiller?
Yeah. He was at Wind Vane, and we, there was a bit of a one-sided conversation, but I did talk to him a fair bit. Get back on course, don't make me come out there in the cold.
Oh, I love it. That's just so fantastic because it just shows you again that you've just got to cope sometimes, and that is why I think the name of your first book that was published, as we said in the trivia, which is called True Spirit, B for all those who answered correctly there, is quite an apt title actually. You've got to have a little bit of spirit when you're going through times of difficulty as well, at sea or otherwise.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely didn't choose that name. that's a publisher's one, which it's great and I like it. But I wouldn't have chose that for my own book. That's for sure.
We had a few alternative titles for you. Ella's Pink Lady, we thought was fairly obvious. Young and Free, and Ordinary Girl. We thought that would have been a great title.
Same, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So then the next question was, in what Australian event did Jessica lead the youngest team in the event's history to a second place in its division? I did like this one too. It was either the Rolex Sydney Hobart, the Melbourne to Hobart, the Vendee Globe. No.
Hope not. I hope there weren't too many people choosing that one.
Then you can't have a team. How many people chose the Vendee Globe? Because it's a solo race.
Just 10, but 10 too many.
Yes.
Or the Sydney to Gold Coast race, which would be nice going north. It was the Sydney to Hobart race. That was pretty amazing too.
Yeah, it was a big project. We worked really hard on this. It was well over a year, and we had a 3-month full-time training window, as well as a couple of other races and regattas throughout that year. So it was a big effort. We took it really seriously, as that youth team, and we're pretty proud of our result.
Excellent. And of course, fantastic news to hear that the Rolex Sydney Hobart will be going ahead this year. That would be great. I'm very excited. I get to cover an event after lunch.
Yeah, I'm obviously not competing this year, so just watching is going to be thrilling.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit, I don't know, quintessential Australian holidays with your family, test, Hobart, a bit of normal. We need a bit of normal this year, I think. So the next question, What company is Jessica a co-founder of? So many people thought Naughty Bags. Shout out to Stacey Jackson, a great friend of the show who we love dearly. But it's actually Deckee that you are a co-founder of.
I mean, look, I sort of wish I was a co-founder of Naughty Bags. I've got plenty. Dink Lady's old sales beautifully made into bags, but no, very proud to be part of Deckee.
Yeah, indeed. And today we announced that I'm actually going to come on board as an ambassador for Deckee as well. It's fantastic, especially for me, a great fit because safety, well, firstly, enjoying my sailing is really important, but then also doing it safely. I mean, how did Deckee come about for you? I mean, the idea, obviously, that we love sailing, but we can't really do that unless we take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And it was actually just, I suppose, quite simply, seeing this amazing technology and these fantastic apps we've got for every other aspect of our lives and kind of going, well, where's this for boating and sailing? So that's really how the idea came about and grew from there. Kind of giving people access really in your phone. And I love it because I think it's also kind of helping to make sailing and boating more accessible because it is, there's so much wonderful word of mouth, but you've got to still know that person or know who to ask. So to have it on an app is just an awesome platform to help people get on the water.
Yeah, for sure. And for those
awesome to have you on board, that's for sure.
Oh, no, I'm really excited because we did actually talk about it quite a while ago. People may have seen in my Instagram stories that selfie of us. That's when we first spoke about it. And then I've finally come on board to try and help out the team. The application itself is supported by quite a number of boating organisations as well because of the safety elements that it provides, but it also has weather integrated. You can plot routes. It's or routes for those depending on where you're from. It's it's actually quite an amazing app. I have it under all of my sailing apps on my phone, but this one and I have my own little profile in here as well. But the cool thing is as well for Sailor Girl, we're going to have a Where is the Sailor Girl button too. So you'll be able to chase me all the way down to Hobart this year. So that's going to be quite fun.
Awesome. Yeah. That's great. Looking forward to that.
Report in from where I am and what I can see and what the weather conditions are. But it's quite a cool idea as well. I mean, for you, access to information when you were doing your own trip and then when you were doing the Hobart, and I know you still sail, you're avid, I remember International 14 sailor and whatnot. I'm not sure how much sailing you've gotten to do this year, and I'm really sorry.
Let's not talk about it. I'm very much, enjoying watching everyone else's adventures. I think we were all kind of, armchair adventures and sailors this year. That's what else can we do?
For sure. And we just literally had the question come through on social media, what sailing are you doing now? Guys, she's just coming out of lockdown. Let her breathe.
I don't think a lot of Australia or the world realises how harsh it was here in Melbourne. People were saying, why don't you just go away for the weekend or get out in the water? And I'm going, we can't leave 5Ks, surrounding our house. So it's been very limited. But, the great thing is now we can at least just get out locally on the bay. But yeah, not a lot of sailing this year, that's for sure. But no, also these days it's been a bit more casual and less serious for me, messing about in dinghies. Actually got a little trailer sailor and sailing that on the lakes and things like that. So it's been very kind of just casual adventure style. Love it more than ever. But yeah, not taking it very seriously currently, that's for sure.
I think we're all allowed to go through those phases. I've not been very serious about it this year either. But you've got a trailer sailor, and any chance that we'll see you racing again soon, or you're just going to take it easy?
Look, I'm not making any promises. And also I think over the years I've come to realise more and more that I'm probably a cruiser at heart more than a racing sailor. I mean, there's so many other things to do, and boats to have one day and definitely want to do that cruise around the world at some point. But, happy messing about in boats for now. That's the most important thing.
That will be Jessica Watson sailing every stop around the world.
Yes, it will.
Oh, that will
certainly
be great.
will.
We'll have to plot that one when it happens. That sounds fantastic. But I love sailing for that. You can race, you can cruise, you can do twilights, you can sail a dinghy, trailer sailor, yacht, catamaran when you're at a resort on holidays. Like, it's a sport for life.
That's exactly it. And that's why I love it so much. And that's why I think more people need to get involved, is because there is kind of a choose your own adventure. You can take it seriously or not at all. You can sit in a boat with a glass of bubbles. There's so many different ways of doing it. And I kind of just love them all. So, and also love just watching and following it. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Can't wait for the
I'm a big fan too. So I can't wait to share more adventures through the Deckee app, but also over the next year. Well, and as the world opens up as well, and I'm sure you'll be the same. So that should be really, really great. But maybe we should get on to the last question then, and actually let you go. Although I don't really want to, because we're having such a good chat. So the last question. There is currently a movie based on Jessica's story being made. True or false? We kind of let this one slip in the opening, but it is true. Very exciting. Great story.
Yeah.
And I
weird one. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I plagiarized, not plagiarized. I don't know what I said just then. I do have a little bit of delay, everybody, so I'm sort of listening to myself in real time, and in my head it's a bit confusing. This is from Channel 9 News in Queensland, your home, of course, announcing the movie. So we might have a little bit of a look at this and then have a chat. How's that sound? Here we go.
10 years ago, a Queensland teenager sailed into the record books as the youngest person to circumnavigate the globe alone and unassisted. Now, Jessica Watson's setting sail for Hollywood with the news that Netflix will make a movie about her incredible journey.
It was 2010 and tens of thousands flocked to the shores of Sydney Harbour to greet 16-year-old Jessica as she completed her remarkable journey. Now a new journey begins as the subject of a major Hollywood movie.
It's exciting. It's humbling, and I suppose it's actually a little bit strange for me.
The former Young Australian of the Year reckons the script almost writes itself.
You're talking 10-metre plus waves and cyclonic winds and boat being rolled upside down in the middle of an ocean. What more drama do you need?
And I'm confident that Queensland will feature a lot, given the fact that Jessica is originally from a downtown Gold Coast. So this will be a very good thing for the industry generally.
Despite now being involved in a major feature film, it's clear that Watson isn't comfortable with being a celebrity.
It's still such a strange experience, 10 years on, and then obviously that period, those first couple of years after I finished the voyage, it was surreal. It was a crazy experience.
While it's obvious that Jessica's boat will play itself during the movie, the question on everyone's lips is who will play Jessica?
It would be awesome to see a young and upcoming, potentially Australian actress, ideally play the role.
It's a hard call. I'm not sure. It's early days, and there's a lot of people who would be champing at the bit to get that opportunity.
Production on Jessica Watson's story could begin as early as next year. Paul Taylor, 9 News.
Firstly, that room looks really familiar.
I know. Just thinking that. I haven't really left here for most of the year, so.
Oh, just awesome. Oh, well, I think there'll be a lot of people very excited to see that story, and yeah, gosh, who would play you?
Yeah, and I still can't, let anything go there, but yeah, it is, yeah. But the great thing is it's coming together well, and international borders are still a bit of a challenge, but they seem to be finding ways. And the great thing is it probably just means more Australian, crew and people are going to be involved in the production, which is only a great thing.
That is a great thing, and while you might refer to yourself as the ordinary girl, it's really amazing that your story will continue to hopefully inspire further generations, which is ultimately the goal now, I guess. At the time it wasn't.
Yeah. Look, I think if there's one thing, I kind of look at this again and part of me goes, oh my gosh, I have to go through all of this again and relive it. But I'm going to have fun with it. But also the one thing I really want to use this for is actually just to try and sell more people on sailing, just to really make people give it a go. So that's going to be, I think, my mission and purpose around this whole whole thing.
Oh, which is fantastic. Isn't that everybody's goal that's in this sort of role? Well, mine is, more people on the water, more often, sport for life,
Yep.
enjoy our
You do a
playground.
great job of it.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Safely.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, it's been so amazing to have you with us, Jessica. Thank you so much for making the time. If anybody wants to download the Deckee app, there's me with the Deckee app, feel free, or just pop myself or Jessica a message. We'd be more than happy to help you with that, because it is really an awesome tool, I think, to help with all of your boating adventures. And thanks to T for being on the line and for helping us out with all of those amazing trivia questions. We will have prizes coming up thanks to Pentanious Sail and Motor Yacht Insurance in Australia, one of our great supporters as well. So next week, I will be at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia for the Twilight. Speaking of Twilights, so hope to catch up with a few of you there. That would be really, really lovely. And maybe I'll actually do an interview in person. I haven't done that in a while.
Awesome. That's exciting.
It is very, very exciting, guys. We'll see you very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Jess. And stay tuned for more adventures.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome.